Hi folks, my name's Tim Gresh. I'm a professional bike fitter in Southeastern Pennsylvania. And this video will be on what we did with this flat bar road bike in front of me, turning it into a dedicated trainer bike for a customer who needs to ride with 145 cranks. It's not a matter of them liking 145 cranks, they need them. A little bit of a backstory. This customer came to me early in the year and we designed an awesome custom bike for them, all starting off with the bike fit and then designing the custom bike with 7 cycles. And one of the big things we found was that 145 cranks worked really well for them. And in fact, they came to me with chronic issues in their hips, and that actually all went away completely with the 145 cranks. Previously, they were riding 165s. Now, this is not an uncommon thing when you go to shorter cranks. If you have hip issues, and typically this is for folks that are a shorter stature, like this customer who's about 5 foot, where they have like hip and lower back issues that they just sort of deal with, and then they get the right crank length, it all goes away, and then you start going back to a bike that has longer cranks, and you realize how rough it was. So that's what happened here. We're entering the trainer season. It's getting cold here in Pennsylvania, and this customer went back to start riding indoors on their Stages smart bike, which only allows a 165 crank as the shortest option. And as soon as they started riding that bike, the hip pain came back. So we got to get 145 cranks in this thing, make it work for indoor riding, and not spend a ton of money. We don't need some fancy crank on here. So I'm gonna show you what we did, and hopefully this will help some of you with your indoor setup if you need shorter cranks. Here's the bike as it arrived. This is a Fuji Royal flat bar road bike. Now, because their Stages bike is not gonna work for their indoor riding, this was sitting in their garage, and we're gonna convert this into their indoor bike with 145 cranks. The cool thing about older bikes is that typically they will have a threaded bottom bracket, which makes it easy to work on. Now, with a quick Google search, I found these right here, BMX bike cranks, single chain ring. It's not gonna be a problem. You'll see in a minute why. And these came in 140 to 170 lengths. Awesome. Can't ask for much more than that. They did not come with a chain ring, so I sourced that myself. I just picked up a Truvative brand steel basic cheap chain ring, threw that thing on there, and that's gonna do the job. Cranks are heavy, but no problem. And they were inexpensive, 130 bucks before shipping. Now, the reason why this is all gonna work is because we're going to use a modern smart trainer with a single cog in the back. In this case, a kicker core with the Zwift single cog. Now, this is a really cool innovation right now, especially if you're just riding Zwift, which is what my customer is doing, because you just have this pod that goes on your handlebars, and that's your gear shifting, up or down, and you have virtual gear shifting, no need for any gears. So we're gonna throw this BMX crank on. I love the threaded bottom bracket on these older bikes, so super easy to work on. Tools to do this are inexpensive. Here's the bottom bracket that was included from Sins. It's an outboard bearing, very much like a Shimano Holotech 2. New chain was needed as well, just because the old one was worn. And then adjustment to the cable tension and the barrel adjuster, just to get that chain lined up nicely from the rear derailleur to the front chain ring. That way we don't get any chain rub. So once that was all done, everything spun nicely, no noises. It's just a one by, and we got 145 cranks on there. And again, all the gear shifting is just gonna be done virtually. And this customer is also gonna be doing a lot of ERG workouts in Zwift where there's no gear shifting to begin with. You're just in one gear and kind of doing an interval workout. However, if they wanna just ride in Zwift in a normal course, they can do gear shifting with that pod. So overall, I mean, this was a really cool thing. You know, 20 bucks for the chain, 130 for the crank. Chain ring itself was like 20 bucks. So fairly inexpensive to do this conversion. From here, the customer has all their measurements from me regarding their seat height, their seat fore-aft position, their bar position, and they're very comfortable doing those adjustments on their own. I provide those things in a spreadsheet. So I'm gonna hand this thing over to them. They're gonna carry out the rest of that stuff, and they'll be ready to ride with no hip issues in these BMX cranks. So hope you find this helpful. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe, and enjoy every ride.